Turning now to the migrant crisis in Europe. Just last week, 41 migrants died after the boat they were on capsized off the coast of Italy's Lampedusa island. It is the latest fatal crossing between North Africa and Europe, with more than 1,800 people losing their lives so far this year. Now, for more insight into this issue, we're joined now by Felix Weiss, who is with the migrant rescue group SeaWatch. Felix, thank you for speaking with us today.
Hi.
All right, so Felix, you are responsible for SeaWatch's aerial reconnaissance. Tell us more about what you see when you're flying over the Mediterranean and how the number of migrant boat crossings have evolved over the past few years.
So what we see in the Mediterranean Sea at the moment is the result of European migration policy. We are counting almost 2,000 persons that have drowned already this year, which is the highest death toll since 2017. And also in the last week, at least 161 persons have drowned in several shipwrecks in between Tunisia, Libya, and Lampedusa. What we also see is a completely overburdened Italian Coast Guard because there's still no European sea rescue mission in place. And this is what we see day by day, either with our ships or our aircrafts.
And Felix, the most recent disaster in the Mediterranean saw dozens of migrants drown when the boat they were on capsized. You were there, SeaWatch was there, played an important role in rescuing 4 of the people who were able to survive that shipwreck, and it was a central role. When we hear about migrants and we hear about their stories, there's not a lot of details about who they are, what their names are. They're often lumped into the term migrant. You're on the front lines and you see the real human element. So tell us more about that and what led up to the most recent shipwreck.
So for us, it's also quite impossible to get any more information because when we fly over the distress cases with our aircrafts, we are allowed basically to make a little bit of assumption. So for example, what kind of boat it is, how many persons are on the boat, is anyone wearing any life-saving equipment, and so on. And this weekend was a huge disaster and also quite chaotic because we count at least 3 shipwrecks, most likely even 4. So the one that we have seen on Tuesday is not linked with the material that we have seen on Sunday from the Guardia Costiera. And the one that we've spotted is even more worse because what we found out later is that the boat capsized, 41 persons drowned, and the 4 survivors have drifted in the Mediterranean Sea for quite a while luckily wearing life-saving equipment, and could then found an empty migrant boat, which got intercepted already before, to rescue themselves. And then we alerted European migration rescue programs and also the rescue coordination centers based in Rome and Valletta and Malta, who can then could alert a merchant vessel who was in the vicinity, who was then able to rescue at least 4 persons then.
All right, and we know many of these boats leave from Sfax in Tunisia. Can you tell us more about this port city and the role it's playing in the migrant crisis?
Yes, so the years before Libya was the migration hub. So most of the boats, especially rubber boats, have departed from the from the west from Libya. But this is a little bit new situation also for us because since autumn last year, we have seen an increase of numbers from boats that are departing from Tunisia, especially from cities as Sfax or Zarzis. And the migration route is completely different because the type of boat that smugglers are using currently, especially from Tunisia, is something that keeps us really worrying because they're out of metal. But we're not talking about high quality metal, we are just talk about self-melded boats, which are not seaworthy at all. So smugglers are currently rather tiny boats where 40 to 60 persons are fit in. But whenever, for example, a big wave is hitting one of these boats are capsizing immediately, which is also linked to the really high numbers that we have this year at the moment.
All right, and Felix, your group SeaWatch is helping to save migrants making this dangerous crossing, but obviously this is a larger issue that requires a lot more support. So what action needs to be taken to address the crisis?
I mean, first of all, we finally need legal and safe escape routes. It's a disaster that since 2014 we are repeating ourselves, and we are just try to make this migration so public with these horrible pictures. So therefore, it needs a change in the thinking and also the policy making when it comes to migration. And it's also outrageous that we are still there. So our work from the civil society actors needs to become unnecessarily. So when we're not getting legal and safe escape routes, we finally need a European rescue mission, which is led and financed by the European states and also, of course, by the member states, which are based in the Mediterranean Sea.
All right, well, Felix, thank you for your work and thank you for speaking with us today about that.
Thank you.
That is Felix Weiss with the migrant rescue group SeaWatch.